And to talk more on globalization and free trade, we're now joined by Global Chairman of Deloitte, David Cruickshank. Well, Mr. Cruickshank, welcome to our show.
Pleasure to be here.
It seems that Asian nations, especially China, South Korea, and Japan, have been pushing for globalization and free trade. But the context is interesting because the U.S. is fighting a trade war with China, and Great Britain is trying to leave the EU. So how hard is it to push for globalization in such a time?
There's two aspects of this. I think we need to look at the history and see the benefits that the world has had from globalization. Since 1990, we've had 1 billion people raised out of poverty around the world. Premature deaths with children, babies, is reduced by about 50%. The price of consumer products that everybody in the world enjoys now, from food to clothes to consumer durables, has reduced massively relative to income levels. So globalization's produced huge benefits, but it's also produced some challenges for people who've lost their jobs, where there's been income inequality, and where there hasn't been regeneration. And those are the issues that need to be addressed in the countries where there are the political challenges, including the United States and the United Kingdom. But I don't think the globalization as a concept is dead. I think it will carry on, but more attention needs to be paid to these local challenges and real issues of people who need reskilled for work of today.
And China said it has done its bit for globalization. For example, China's Belt and Road Initiative. Many people say this is China's ambition to bring the world closer. What do you think it will reshape the global economy?
It's interesting when I reflect on this. The last 200 years of history have been unusual compared to the previous 1800 years of history. So if you look at up to 1800, from year one right through to the year 1800,
nothing much happened.
China and India represented about 50% of world GDP. And then the 19th and 20th centuries were the centuries where Europe benefited from the Industrial Revolution, and then the US. So I see the world getting back to the normal situation, actually, where China has a bigger share of world output and world resources, rather than something that's unusual. I think we just need to look at history to see that China's getting back to the position relative to other countries that it had before. And I think China will do it in China's own way. America did it in America's way. The UK, where I'm from, did it in its own way. I think each country globalizes and influences in different ways.
But we have to admit that globalization now is different than, say, 20, 30 years ago. More and more of the trade probably will be conducted in services rather than goods. How will that transform the trading system in the world?
I think you're right. I think the growth sector in services represents more than 50% of exports right around the world. So manufactured exports only 30%, agri-foods only 25%. So services is already in the world the dominant export sector. And in some economies, Europe and the US, the services sector represents 75–80% of GDP. So it's a big part of the economy. And I think there's a lot of growth in the services sector in China and Asia. I think it will have to come with an international context, because with digitization of businesses and e-commerce, with the technology changes that are taking place, with the expectations of companies for the best in class wherever they can get medicines, that's a global business. So I think we've all seen the benefits of globalization, and for services and for products, and it's too valuable to give that up.
Yeah, it is a great trend there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr.